welcome you all students for today's science class. Today's class is the continuation of previous class. Unit 4 Reproduction and Modification in Plants. In the previous class we learned about two types of reproduction in plants, right? Sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. When plants are reproduced from the seeds, we call that process as sexual reproduction, right? Seed is produced from a flower by the process of pollination and fertilization. Now we will see what is pollination and what is fertilization. Pollination, the process by which pollen grains reach stigma, is called as pollination. We all know, right? Pollen grains are present in the anther of the matured flower. So when the pollen grains reach the stigma of the flower, it is called as pollination. The flower that receives pollen grains is called as pollinated flower, while the one that did not receive pollen grain is called as unpollinated flower. So when a flower receives pollen grains, it is called as pollinated flower. When it does not receive pollen grain, it is called as unpollinated flower. Here is an experiment to understand the process of pollination. So they have taken pumpkin flowers. Pumpkin flowers are unisexual. We can easily identify the male and female flower buds of pumpkin even before they bloom. As you can see here, this is the male pumpkin flower and this is the female pumpkin flower. So once flower buds appear, immediately we have to identify 10 female flower buds and we have to tie a plastic bag around each bud so that no outside material can enter inside the bud. Then we have to make small holes with a pin to allow airflow. Then we have to wait for 2 to 3 days for the flower to bloom. Then choose 3 to 4 male flowers. Pluck the stamens of these flowers. We have to choose 3 to 4 male flowers and we have to just take the stamen. We all know, right? The stamen has anther and filament. Both together make the stamen. So we have to pluck the stamens of these flowers and dust the pollen grain in a sheet of paper and collect it. Then we have tied plastic bag around the female flower, right? So we have to open 5 out of 10 bags containing the female flower and brush the collected pollen grains on the stigma with a soft paintbrush. Take care not to damage the stigma. After few days, we can see that flower in all bags that were not opened at all would wilt without forming a fruit, while most of the flowers to which pollens have been applied bear fruits. So this is the experiment. There are two types of pollination: artificial pollination and natural pollination. So in the above experiment, we transferred the pollen grain from male flower to the female flower. So this is called as artificial pollination. Whereas in natural pollination, however, in nature, there are many ways in which pollen grains reach the stigma of the flower and it is called as natural pollination. So, here are some of the ways in which pollen grains can naturally transfer from one flower to another flower, like through insects like bees, bugs, butterflies, then birds, then wind. In some plants like grasses, the pollen grains are very light, right? So the stamens shed pollen grains and are carried by wind to the other flower. Then insects, birds are also agents of pollination. Bees, butterflies and variety of birds hover around flowers. They help to carry pollen grain from one flower to another. So pollen grains can stick to their legs, wings or abdomen when they move from one flower to another. So this is natural pollination, whereas in artificial pollination, we transfer the pollen grain from male flower to female flower. Next, we will see what is self-pollination. When you shake stamens, pollen grains fall out. Thus, when a wind shakes the flower or when a butterfly agitates the flower, pollen grains could fall onto the stigma of the same flower. Some plants that have both the male and female parts within a single flower, bisexual, pollinate by this means. This is called as self-pollination. Pollen grains are present in the stamens, right? So when the stamen is shaken by wind or butterfly or by bird, what happens is the pollen grains will fall into the stigma of the same flower. So when the flower is bisexual, that is when both male and female part is present in the single flower, then they pollinate by this means. So this is called as self-pollination. For example, beans and tomatoes pollinate by this means. Even though for tomato to self-pollinate, they need the help of the insects to create vibrations within the flower that will effectively loosen the pollen. Paddy is mostly self-pollinating using just gentle wind as the pollinating agent. So the agents that are helping in pollination are called pollinators. For example, in paddy, wind is called as the pollinator, and in tomato, the insects are called as the pollinator because they are the helping agents in pollination. So they are called as the pollinators. Next is cross-pollination. Bees, butterflies and variety of birds hover around flowers. They help to carry pollen from one flower to another. Pollen grains stick to their legs, wings or abdomen when they move from one flower to another. This is called as cross-pollination. So, in cross-pollination, pollen grain is transferred from one flower to another with the help of bees, butterflies and variety of birds. Whereas in self-pollination, pollen grain is transferred within the single flower itself. Example for cross-pollination. In many plants, pollens have to come from some other flowers. This is obvious in case of plants which have distinct male and female flowers like pumpkin. In some flowers, the gynoecium matures first before the anthidium shed pollens. Plants such as apples, plums, strawberries, pumpkins use insects for cross-pollination. Here is the difference between self-pollination and cross-pollination. Pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or to another flower of the same plant. In cross-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same kind or different plant. Plants do not need to produce pollen grains in large quantity for self-pollination, whereas for cross-pollination, plants need to produce pollen grains in larger quantity to increase the chance of pollination. In self-pollination, it does not produce changes in the characteristics of new plants, whereas in cross-pollination, does introduce variations in characteristics of new plants. Next, we will see what is fertilization. Male gamete fuses with the female gamete to form zygote. This process is known as fertilization. So, when a male gamete fuses with the female gamete to form zygote, this process is known as fertilization. So, Where is this female gamete? The female gamete is present inside the ovary. Small rounded structures, ovules, are present inside the ovary. In these ovules, female gamete is present. To know more about this, we should cut ovary of a flower in longitudinal and transverse ways. So, in the bottom part of the flower, we can see ovary, and inside which ovules are present, right? So, cut a ovary of a flower both vertically and horizontally. Observe the ovules. Compare the ovary and ovules from few different flowers. Are there one or more ovules? Can you see any connection between the number of ovules in the ovary and the number of seeds in each fruit? You can try this. Here I have some vegetables: tomato, lady's finger, and brinjal. Can you see a green part above the fruit of tomato, lady's finger, and brinjal? They are called as sepals, and they are the sepals of a flower. In some plants, after fertilization, sepals will not fall from fruit and remain or persist with fruit. Look at these fruits. Custard apple, it is made up of many fruits agitated together. Each fruit part is thin, membranous, with some granule-like, which is edible. When you look at mango, outer skin and middle pulpy are edible and sweet. Innermost is very hard and it is a single seed. Look at this pea. Fruit is not fleshy but forms a covering pouch for many seeds. Hence, now with these observations, we shall list the changes taking place in a flower after fertilization. So, they are collectively called as post-fertilization changes. Calyx sometimes persists without falling with the fruit, as we saw in case of brinjal, lady's finger, tomato. Petals wither or they fall off. Androecium fall off. Pistil remains and develops into a fruit. Style and stigma fall off. Ovary enlarges to store food materials and develops into a fruit. Ovules present inside the ovary develops into seeds. So these are the post-fertilization changes. Life cycle of a plant. As we all know, flower contain stamen, and in the stamen anther is present, and in the anther of matured flower pollen grains are present. So when the pollen grains reach the stigma of the same flower or of different flower, by pollination, it travels through the pollen tube and reaches the ovary, and then it fertilizes, and the fertilized egg becomes the embryo of the seed. So when the seed germinates, it produces a mature plant, produces flower, and again in the stigma anther will be present, and the anther has pollen grains, and the pollen grains are transmitted by other pollinating agents through other flowers or to the same flower, and again this process continues. So this is the life cycle of a plant. We saw what is sexual reproduction, right? Now we will see what is asexual reproduction. All other ways of reproduction without seed are called as asexual reproduction. So now let us study the types of asexual reproduction. The first one is through vegetative propagation. In potato, shoots arise from eyes. Sugarcane, yam are also grown like this. Vegetative parts of the plant such as root, stem and leaves can help to propagate the plant. So this is called as vegetative propagation. Next is budding. When we go to a bakery, we see so many types of cakes and breads. How they are made? They are made by using yeast. So these are very soft in nature. This is due to the presence of yeast. Single yeast undergoes asymmetric division. It produces a small protuberance which gradually grows and detaches from the parent cell. This process is called budding, as you can see in this picture. Next is fragmentation. In a pond, we can see so many algae. Spirogyra is a filamentous algae and when it matures, the filament divides into pieces. As you can see here, this filament is divided into pieces. Each fragment or a piece of a filament will grow into a new filament or individual algae. Likewise, Spirogyra produces so many young ones and this process is known as fragmentation. Next is spore formation. What do you mean by unfavorable condition? Scarcity of water, high temperature, nutrient deficiency in soil, etc. are unfavorable conditions. So during these conditions, non-flowering plants like algae, fungi, moss and ferns produces spores. They germinate into a new plant when favorable conditions are returned. So this is called as spore formation. So vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation and spore formation are the types of asexual reproduction in plants. I hope you all understood what is sexual and asexual reproduction and what are the ways of sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction in plants. Now we will do a recap of what we learned. We learned about the two ways of sexual reproduction in plants by pollination and fertilization. Pollination, the process by which pollen grains reach stigma, is called as pollination. There are two types of pollination, artificial pollination and natural pollination. In artificial pollination, we transfer pollen grains from male flower to the female flower artificially, and natural pollination, the pollen grains reach the stigma of the flower naturally. It is called as natural pollination. Next, we learned what is self-pollination. When pollen grains are transferred from the stamens to the stigma of the same flower, it is called as self-pollination. Whereas in cross-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to another flower by pollinating agents. This is called as cross-pollination. Next, we learned what is fertilization. Male gamete fuses with the female gamete to form zygote. This process is known as fertilization. The pollen grain reaches the stigma of the flower. Once it reaches the stigma, it begins to germinate. It passes through the long tube called pollen tube, which is present in the style, and reaches the ovary. The ovary is present in the bottom part of the flower. Then it fuses with the female gamete and forms a zygote. This is the zygote. A zygote is a combination of a male and a female gamete. Next, it forms embryo. It doesn't look like a fruit, right? So post-fertilization changes occurs in the flower. Calyx sometimes persists with fruit or fall off, petals fall off, androecium fall off, pistil remain and it develops into a fruit. Style and stigma fall off. The ovules present inside the ovary develops into seed. Ovary enlarges to store food materials and develops into a fruit. We learned what are the ways of asexual reproduction. It is vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation, and spore formation. Assignment: define pollination. What is cross pollination? Fill in the blank. After fertilization, the ovule becomes dash. Thank you.